So, this is the vlog for June 21st. And oh, what a morning I had. So, it was going okay right up until I got into the shower. While I was in the shower, someone called out, Eric, just so you know, the power's going to go out. And I knew this was going to happen at some point this week. We got a call letting us know that someone was going to come and mess with the meter, update it or replace it or something, and that there would be a momentary power outage, roughly 30 seconds to 5 minutes, depending on how long it was going to take. But we got that call last week, and I had forgotten about it. I thought they were going to do it within 5 days of the call, which was like Friday, while everybody else was out of town. And now here we are on Thursday, and this is when they finally decided to do it while I was in the shower, which would have been fine. If it had just gone out and come back on while I was in the shower, that would have been A-okay. But actually, I was just finishing the shower, so I toweled off, lickety-split, and decided that I had the window of opportunity to power down my PS4. Because when the PS4 is in a normal sleep mode, it gets all goofy and errors when the power goes out and then you power it back on. And I wanted to avoid that, and I wanted to avoid losing any possible data. So I went to power it off. I was going to do it the same thing to my computer. And I put it in a sleep mode into accident. So as I'm pulling that back out and trying to power on the PS4, I turn off the PC. And then right as I'm turning off the PS4, that's when the power goes out. Right when there's a message on the screen that says, do not unplug the PlayStation 4 when the power light is on or blinking. So while the power is out, I'm complaining about this to my friends over Discord, and I also complain about how Discord doesn't have a sideways version on the phone app. So I keep fat fingering and saying the wrong things and having to correct myself, and I'm just winding myself into a rage. And then I start to realize that everybody is having a terrible morning. At least one friend took her mother to the hospital for something and had to sit in a very uncomfortable chair for 2 hours while the procedure was being performed. Another friend got heat stroke yesterday while working at his job and trying to move some stuff outside. Third friend, who's down in Florida, is suffering from allergies so bad that he had to stay home from work today. And here I am complaining about a list of first world problems, which just made me feel even worse. To top it all off, and this is probably the most frustrating thing of all, I found that the PC version of New Gundam Breaker has been delayed till next month at least. Sometime in the summer, which could be anywhere till September. And knowing Bandai Namco, who publishes it, they could even take longer than that if they don't get it working to a suitable way. Bandai Namco has some real trouble figuring out how to release games in this new consumer post-disc era where digital downloads are becoming the standard instead of the exception. And I couldn't think of any better way of driving that point home than when I went to pre-order the game, having found out that it won't be available on PC or Steam for some time. I went to pre-order the game on the PlayStation Store and realized it wasn't there. In fact, the only Gundam game I could find on the PlayStation 4 was Gundam Versus. So at this point, I decided I would order the disc. I'm not going to be able to get it tomorrow. It's going to arrive apparently on Monday or Tuesday, which is really annoying because I spent an extra $4 for 1 day shipping. But the fact that I'm ordering it now means that it's not going to ship today to arrive tomorrow. it's going to ship tomorrow, and because tomorrow is Friday, it's going to arrive on Monday. Now, I could get lucky and it might show up anyway. That has happened before, especially when I have a one-day shipping sort of a thing. But I'm not holding my breath. So now, instead of playing Gundam all weekend, I'm probably going to play some other games like Prey. Today is the first day of the Steam Summer Sale, so a whole bunch of stuff was on sale, and during E3, Bethesda announced a whole new special mode for their Prey game that had been released about a year ago, which got all my friends to talking about how much they love Prey, and it had sort of flown past me. I didn't know exactly what it was, although I'd heard some people liken it to System Shock. System Shock sort of created a genre, which I would call the first-person choice playstyle RPG. And a lot of people associate the sort of gameplay that you get from these games with modern RPGs where you build a customized skill set for a character. But System Shock was really one of the first games to actually not just give you choices in dialogue when talking to NPCs, or choices in what you're going to do next as an objective, or like what level you're going to do next. What it did was it offered at least three, I think, distinct, and I've never played System Shock or System Shock 2, so I could be wrong about this. But if I remember correctly, there's a sort of computer path where you can hack computers and get information that way. There's a straight combat path where you gain skills that allow you to use weapons more efficiently. And then there's also some sort of engineering path which allows you to make tools that are useful. And because of this, the game would put a lot of different encounters in front of you that you could solve in different ways. You could sneak past an enemy if you were good enough at your, sneaking skills, or you had built an item that gave you a cloaking device as an engineer, or you could just use brute force and use every weapon in your disposal to blow it away. Or if you could figure out how to hack it, you could break into the database that controlled the obstacle, hack it to turn it off, and get past it that way. So, does that sound familiar? System Shock was probably the first game to offer these kinds of options. System Shock 2 definitely had a lot of options available. But Deus Ex, the original back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and the new Human Revolution Deus Ex that came out much more recently, follow the same basic pattern. In fact, a lot of people call Deus Ex the spiritual successor of System Shock 2. Another game I was just thinking about, BioShock. Takes its name very much from System Shock and offers you a lot of different powers that you can use to solve problems in different ways. It's not so much like pick your skill points kind of thing. It's just giving you a wide variety of tools, which you can then use in any combination to solve any problem that you come across. And it's become a little more action-oriented and well-known for its action and for its horror aspects. Let's see, BioShock, System Shock, Deus Ex, Human Revolution, and now Prey. Prey seems to fall very close to the tree. It's not a lot of NPC dialogue, breaking up the action like Deus Ex had, and it's not quite as steampunk, diesel punk, whatever you want to call it, that BioShock was. BioShock had things that bordered on magic at times. I think that one of the powers is shooting bees out of your hand or something ridiculous. Prey is very much a science fiction experience, and it's phenomenal. And it sort of got mixed reviews, and a lot of that stemmed from some confusion over the fact that it's called Prey. There was another game called Prey released not even 10 years ago that has nothing to do with this game. It's cool. It's hard. I'm not sure these games have ever been exactly my kind of game. I can see how they would appeal to people who like to game that sort of experience, but it's so atmospheric that I can't help but be sort of scared that anything in the room might be a mimic and jump out at me. So I play very, very slowly, and I'm very sort of Alien Isolation was the same way, where the alien can come out at any time, and you will have to stop whatever you're doing and deal with it or get away from it, if at all possible. So the funny thing about how terrible my morning was, and how okay so Prey was in the middle of the day, the end of the day ended up being fantastic. It's been cloudy all day, which has been very nice. It's cooled everything off. The house has been completely pleasant, and this evening the clouds broke up and it got sunny right at the end of the day. So I went and had a walk around the neighborhoods, and this week was the last week of school, and I think today is technically the first day of summer. I could be wrong about that, but they were having a block party outside, and there were kids and families and teenagers, just tons of teenagers everywhere. There was music being played. There were 3 food trucks, 2 food trucks and a sort of a donut kiosk. Looked like it was built into a Segway. It was so small, but it was just nice. Nice to see people out enjoying each other's company, being friendly, enjoying a beautiful evening. And it really has soothed me completely and made me think. I don't know why I started thinking this, and I've already gone over 10 minutes, so I don't want to talk too much about this, but there are a couple of mysteries in my life that have remained unsolved. I don't know what they mean. I don't know why they happened, and I probably never will. One of them I've already mentioned, actually. The way Leo was introduced into my life was I found him miraculously in a bush just on the property line between our house and the neighbor's house. And I picked him up after he rolled onto his back and took him inside and took care of him for the next 12 years. And I've never known why he ended up in that bush, and I've tried to find his owner because he was clearly too young to be out by himself at that time of night. He would have been eaten by a coyote if I hadn't picked him up, probably. But I've never figured out why he ended up right with us. I went specifically to the neighbor's house and asked if their cat had had kittens, and that might have been what had happened. They said, no, it's a male cat. So the other mystery was when I was taking care of my folks' house while they were on vacation years ago. Leo was there. Leo was at home at the time. But I came home and I just sort of, went about my business, set my bag aside, took off my shoes, went to get a snack, got everything out and started eating. And it was only then that I realized the back door was open. And it was a door that we never open. We've had, my parents' house has 2 doors in the area that connects the kitchen to the family room. One on the west side and one on the east side. And the one on the west side is the one that always gets used. That when I was living with my parents and I had Leo, that was the one that Leo would go in and out of. But we've kept the other one locked for basically the entire time I lived there. And the fact that it was not only unlocked but swung open was so bizarre. I just don't know what could have caused it. I don't know who would have had a key to unlock it. And I'm fairly certain that the other door was locked. All the doors in the house should have been locked at that point. But I closed the door. And this is one of the reasons I've always been sort of nervous alone in a house for any long period of time. I looked everywhere. I looked for anything that could have been missing. I looked for my mom's jewelry drawer to see if anything was missing. When they got back, I asked them to check to see if anything had gone missing. Nothing. Nothing out of place. The house was fine. I didn't find footsteps or anything. Leo had been off somewhere. After the door was closed, I think he came down and was sort of just, "Hi, can I have my dinner now?" I just don't know. I just don't know what happened, why it happened. I probably never will. But I don't know why tonight I just had this weird nostalgic feeling and I started thinking about those things. And life is good with a little bit of mystery, but it does sort of. I mean, this must have happened 6 years ago, and I still think about it. I still think about it sometimes. Why was that door open? Anyway, talked your ear off enough tonight. I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.